I can report to the American people and to the world that the United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden.
More than 15 searches that cost $450 billion. United States. He finally managed to destroy a dangerous enemy, even though we have documents on Al-Qaeda since the 90s. But even the CIA and the FBI, we can't stop the 9/11's tragedy. 10 years of political unrest, the same ideology of anti-Western extremism in the Middle East, has paved the way for the rise of the terrorist organization, the most dangerous in modern history. 11/11/11, a year 98, the First World War ended. With most of these soldiers, a new beginning is in front of us. But for some, it's the end. Ottoman sub-capital. To be strong, it's now divided into regions under the influence of the West. The ones win a match paying special attention to an important area. It's not complicated to divide. Size ticket agreement between Britain and France year 196 completed the task with just one line. And that sounds very good, because AI has its share. But before you can sign the agreement, you have. But of course when the victory comes, has not stopped. Empire. You made it even more stressful in 97 by making a statement of vice. Who dares to resist his absolute power? But their betrayal of the Arabs has planted in the Arab Middle East an idea. More than a decade after the rise of fascism in Europe, the Jews emigrated to the Middle East to escape the Nazis, especially in the Palestinian territories. A statistic from Zeus Agency recorded 452,306 Jews migrate to the Middle East in stages 199 to 1948. But things just really explode when World War II ended, and the United Nations adopted a plan to divide Palestine partly for the Jews and partly for the Arabs. Jerusalem will be under international control. Territory for the Jewish state, proposed to cover about 55% of the area. Needless to say, the Jew nodded immediately, and the Arabs wonder in discontent. Why do I have to pay less? 14/5 years a mature 48. David Ben-Gurion declares the establishment of the State of Israel. The next day, an Arab coalition of Egyptians and Jordanians, Syria, Iraq and Lebanon launch war against Israel. But it's a surprise. The six-nation coalition is crumbling in the face of a young state. After 8 months of fighting. As a result, Israel captured territory that's more than the United Nations originally planned. More than 700,000 Arabs were forced to leave their homeland. Anti-Western ideas here pushed to a new high. Military support for Israel. It was seen by the Arabs as an act of colonial intervention. A new kind of Muslim world, again humiliated after the overthrow of the British Empire. They all laid the foundation. Let this man give birth to the first arguments about political Islam. Born in 906 in Egypt, Sayyid Qutb was originally a writer and literary critic. In the last years of 10 years or ripe 40, Qutb to study in the US. The new world in his eyes was rife with moral corruption, the materialism of racism, and a way of life away from religion. Very quickly, after returning to Egypt, he joined the Brotherhood against the pro-Western government at the time. Initially, the Muslim Brotherhood collaborated with Gamal Abdel Nasser, it's an Egyptian politician, to carry out the coup d'etat in year 1992. But soon the two sides turned. Emil assassinated Nasser in 19 years. Muslim brothers are violently oppressed, and a 10-year prison sentence. During that time, he's developed a revolutionary ideology. The first is a concept called Jahiliyyah. That's the pre-Islamic era of stupidity. The little girl said, the entire modern world is living in this condition for having departed from the law of God. This is the cornerstone of violent ideology, to overthrow governments that are considered heretical. Before stopping there, he continued to insist on Hakimiyya. That is, the sovereignty of God. Only the law of God has supreme power. Any system of laws devised by man is worthless. From here, he's advocating for the building of a pure Islamic state. It does not tolerate any force. The tip believes in revolutionary violence to overthrow the Jahiliyyah system and create a new society. His book My Stone embodies this ideal very clearly. It's also become a land-powered document in the world of radical Islam. Year 196, Father Yaqui was executed by the Egyptian authorities. But his thoughts didn't go away. It was quickly inherited by someone else. Born in the year 191 at a famous official family in Cairo, Ayman al-Zawahiri, who could live a life less than a king on every throne. But he chose a different path. I was 9 years old, 6 to 6 when I was 15 years old. Al-Zawahiri supported the creation of an underground military to overthrow the Egyptian government and replace it with a Muslim organization. During his time in prison in connection with the assassination of President Anwar Sadat. It's even been pushed to the top, and stronger than the experimenter. More importantly, he wasn't hanged. Middle East year 1979. The strong activity of small Muslim organizations that leaves many governments in a state of helplessness. Afghanistan too. Before that situation, the coalition decided to bring troops to intervene directly and support the communists in this country. With the Muslims, this is exactly it's an act of aggression by a heathen state. And war is inevitable. Mujahideen, or jihadists, flooding from everywhere to fight. One of them is a rich guy from Saudi Arabia. Born in a religious family, Osama bin Laden was educated in religion at a young age and under the influence of conservative ideology. Bin Laden did not hold a gun. He mainly to provide financial support to the armed forces through intermediary organizations. Through time, bin Laden became ideologically more attached to the war. Not just to protect Afghanistan, but also the sacred resistance against all foreign forces, invasion of the Muslim world. And then the ideal grew stronger by the impulse of a character. And Zawahiri contact bin Laden in Mujahideen training camps on the border. Bin Laden has since been convinced that the real enemy is not only foreign powers like the United States. The Soviets are also renegade Muslim governments. America is the greatest evil against Islam by manipulating the Muslim world. There's only global violence. We can create a true Islamic state. Year 1989. The Mujahideen defeated the Soviet Union, but the Saudi government, because I believe in that, invite the US to protect the country in the Gulf War. How much of the blood of devout Muslims? And finally lost the money of the atheists over there. The Atlantic Ocean. A man as religious as bin Laden definitely can't stand this. So he completely transformed his mind. It's not just foreign opposition, but also against non-Muslim governments. Year 1989. Bin Laden and Zawahiri officially founded Al-Qaeda. It's not just a military organization. It's an ideal network. The mission of global struggle. It is against the presence of the U.S. military. Virtual Peninsula Bin Laden was expelled from Saudi Arabia. He and Ankara had to move to Sudan to continue operations. Sudan is now under the control of Hassan al-Tabari, a hardline Muslim leader. Bin Laden is like a fish meeting water. Two ideas come together to share a common goal. Under the auspices of al-Tabari, Sudan becomes sanctuary for radical church organizations. Turkey used this period to train its forces and formed alliances with other jihadist groups in the Eritrean jihad movement. Ankara logistic and financial support for the militants against the Ethiopian government. Bill Gates also sends advisors to military trainers to support an organization combat training against Ethiopian troops in Somalia. Al-Qaeda is also believed to be present in the Mogadishu area. Join us at the Black Hawk Down event, 5A9BA, when American soldiers were ambushed. Parallel to those activities, the first attack was by Al-Qaeda itself. Implementation also takes place. Day to 9 December year 1992. Two bombs explode in Aden, Yemen. The target is Movenpick Hotel and the Goma Hotel parking lot. These bombings were aimed at eliminating American soldiers. He's on his way to Somalia. Year 1994, Saudi Arabia, Germany of bin Laden's civil rights because of his irresponsible behavior against the interests of Saudi Arabia and harm to the brotherly countries. But that doesn't matter anymore. In just a few years, Ankara from an Afghan militant group, it's become an international terrorist network ready to move towards higher goals. When the convoy leaves, reported to the U.S. Secret Service, the staff even discovered a bomb planted under the bridge. -1 of year 1995 to early under international pressure, especially from the United States. The Sudanese government was forced to demand bin Laden leaves the country. Bin Laden moved to Afghanistan with his family and more than 200 other loyal subordinates. Afghanistan is in chaos right now, post-civil war between the factions. However, the Taliban are in de facto control of the country. It doesn't take long. Bin Laden set up a relationship with the leader of Malama. Taliban allow Ankara to stay in training camps, especially in the mountains of Tora Bora and Kandahar. August 1996, bin Laden declares war on the Americans' occupation of the Tibetan Peninsula, officially calling for a full-scale jihad war. From here, large-scale attacks are also planned and deployed. June 2nd, 5/A96 at the complex thanks to American troops on the ground. One truck minus more than 2 explosives hit a building ABA. 19 U.S. service members killed and nearly 500 injured. This was one of the attack's biggest casualties for American soldiers since the bombing of Beirut in A98BA. Al-Qaeda has not been formally charged, but bin Laden, once again a compliment for those who carried out the attacks, Riyadh and Derek. The Cobra Towers. It's the opening event of the campaign, eliminating U.S. military influence in the Middle East. The period immediately after, Ankara accelerates network expansion to build a theory and test out large-scale attack tactics. The attacks are increasing, showing kindness in the organization and logistics. One example is the bombing of the U.S. Embassy in Kenya, Tanzania, year 1998. This attack killed more than 200 people and thousands of people were injured. This is the first time Al-Qaeda targets U.S. diplomats. 2 years later, terrorist organization continues to attack the destroyer USS Cole, 17 Marines. The act of attack, military objectives demonstrate combat capability and target a highly defensible target. But all those attacks, it's just a stepping stone to a plan to shake the world. A terrorist group of 19 selected people, training in Afghanistan and Pakistan. They then moved to Germany, Spain, and eventually the United States. Some of the attackers lived secretly in the United States and then learned to fly. People are robbed. 2 crashed into the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center in New York. 1 crashed into the Pentagon. A plane crashed in Pennsylvania after passengers fought back. The September 11th attacks gave Al-Qaeda widely out global, at the same time that the United States to launch a full-scale war on terrorism. That attack was almost the last. We see the terror of Al-Qaeda. Just a few weeks later, U.S. launches Campaign Enduring Freedom to overthrow the Taliban regime. Al-Qaeda loses training base. Many leaders were killed or arrested. Within months, Taliban collapses. Bin Laden and Ayman al-Zawahiri escaped to the border tribal area with Pakistan. Training camps in Afghanistan. The backbone of Al-Qaeda was destroyed. According to the U.S. Department of Finance, hundreds of accounts have been blocked. 10 countries are also participating in sharing about financial information. Had brain of this terrorist organization, loss of ability to coordinate branches in resources. North Africa and Somalia. Al-Qaeda's top leaders also took turns. Year 2011, Osama bin Laden killed in Pakistan by the American superpower. It's a period of total decline for this organization. The loss of the founder and the spiritual that made Al-Qaeda fall into crisis. Organization, especially the central operations in the Afghanistan-Pakistan region. Ayman al-Zawahiri succeeds bin Laden. He has no personal stature or the same ability to inspire. His leadership role is symbolic. Lack of efficiency in the maintenance of internal unity. Meanwhile, local branches such as Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, Al-Qaeda in Marib Muslim, High in Bawag in Somalia. They are becoming more independent. Sometimes it goes against the general direction of the parent organization. More so the rapid and brutal organization of the Islamic State. After 2 years, number 14. Al-Qaeda has lost its central role in the movement. Global war bar. Many warriors, especially the young extremists, turned to support ISIS because of the strong media appeal and the early success of the kingdom. Muslims in Syria and Iraq. From a global terrorist organization that has the potential to disrupt